Hello and welcome to the fifth battle. The campaign is going along nicely. We are now well into the 5th century of the world. Um, and last time we were watching Ulta fight the Saxons. Now we're going back to my campaign, and I want to show you a screenshot from a later part of the campaign, so you can get kind of an overview of what's going on. So at this point, Ulta, this screenshot is from later in the campaign. So you can see the dark blue color here in Italy and North Africa and Spain. That's me as the Ostrogoths, and the light blue colors is Ulta, the Caledonians. Ulta just fought here in the Lugdunensis for Gaul against the Saxons. Now I'm fighting a battle against the remnants of the Western Roman Empire down here in Africa. I've taken some of the islands here around Sardinia and Corsica and the Majorcan Islands, and Sicilia, of course. Um, and Hadrumetum is the last remnant of the Western Roman Empire, as the rest of the empire has broken away into other provinces like Britain, which started up here in the north, then got chased to Gaul by the Saxons, then got chased to Hispania by the Saxons. Now the Saxons have been attacked up there, so Britain has established a breakaway Roman province in Hispania, next to the other Roman breakaway faction, actually called Hispania, over here in the west part of Iberia. So it's all mightily confusing. But for this battle, I'm attacking Hadrumetum, and I'm receiving help from the Visigoths, who have nicely moved an army down to support me taking this town. And I'm utilizing that by attacking first while they're in reinforcement range, because that means I'm going to get the village and not them. And the Romans are defending it. So enough with the strategic overview. Let's get to the actual battle. So Ulta is commanding the Western Roman Empire. I'm commanding the Ostrogoths, which have a reinforcing full-stack army, but the Visigoths themselves are commanded by the AI. So there's a full-stack army defending the village, plus there's a garrison army of 1,300 men and 2 units extra from another legion. There's about 5,000 or so Ostrogoths, I think, or about 4,000 perhaps, and there's about 2,600 Visigoths. So the combined Gothic force outnumbers the Romans quite a bit. Also, by the way, it looks like I got the name wrong. This is Constantina, not Hadrumetum. So let's just pause. Also, last thing about the strategic overview, this is like a one turn or a few turns before Ulta's actual fight with the Saxons, but because of the narrative of switching between the battles, I decided to do it like this. So anyway, we're just getting started, but let's take a look at the village that Ulta has to defend. It is not the best of villages, I think you can safely assume, because there are of course there's no walls, but also there are no kind of inner walls that you can really defend and put archers on that you have in some villages, or fortified villages you might say. Instead it's just a plain old Roman city. The central pass is here. Emanating from it there are 4 directions to attack from. Here to the west, south, southeast, and to the northeast. Now, once you get out to the exterior of the village, you can see there's also plenty of places to simply walk in. And if we go down to watch it like this, it's a pretty flat village. There's not much of a hill advantage. There's a slight bit of a hill advantage over here, and this is where Ulta has decided to focus his defenses. He has put spearmen in the testudo formation, ready to face the enemy. Some of these are units that are specifically radius units. So this one, the Legio Tertia Italica, medium spear infantry with javelins. And he's decided to put the one barricade he has back here. If you don't know Total War Attila very well, you might not know what this barricade does or how you can use it. Basically, there's a few chosen spots, like here and over there, of course, where you can place the barricade before the battle starts. And units on a barricade, first off, a barricade, of course, holds off attackers. They can destroy the barricade, and it doesn't take long for them to do it. But if there's a missile unit on top, it is absolutely devastating, as you will see later in this fight. They can really, when you're shooting at point-blank range, down at units just below them, they can really get a ton of kills. Anyway, let's slowly start the battle while I go through the armies. So let's focus on my army at first, this first one. No, wait, let's wait for all the attackers to show up first. Let's focus on the defenders. So there's a total of 4,500 defenders. Lots of these are spearmen, these radius units, medium spear infantry with javelins. Not so much armor, unfortunately, for Ulta, but decent infantry nonetheless. Consider them like Germanic levy, just upgraded. Legio, a couple of here. Herculiani Seniores, which is in the native Toro Attila, is actually the best Roman unit there is. These are basically the Praetorians, the very best of Romans. They have the armor of the Projectoris Domestici and the melee attack and melee defense of Palatina and more. They are excellent. Legio over here, supporting ranged, mercenary pikemen. Legio Pseudo Comitatensis, another radius unit. I think they're supposed to be sort of a middle ground between a Limitani and a Comitatensis. So they're kind of lightly armored, but still Comitatensis like. And then there's a lot of these Foederati Herban. So the Foederati units are barbarians living within Roman borders that then choose to take up arms for Rome. So historically the Franks, for example, used to be Foederati. Back here, loads more Foederati units and supporting spearmen as well. And the general here is with his Palatina guards. This is the general right there. Again in light armor, as usual. As usual. There we go. English language is hard. Anyway, so a nice defensive force. There's also some hidden exploratores, which is basically scouts out here, and some cavalry, skirmisher, and also some scout equitas.
Do we help?
Okay, I'm gonna need to pause again because there's just so many units. Okay, as for the attackers, also I believe there's these are the 2 units that came to help. Not that great. Some mercenary desert raiders might be useful, but yeah. So the I think I remember wrong. It's not a 2 full stack armies from the Ostrogoths. It's more like one and a half stack. But the Visigoths have an army mostly of solid infantry. They also have some onagers out here, which are very useful. We have Germanic levies, Gothic levies. These are pikemen, more Gothic levies, and Germanic nobles. In fact, loads of pikemen of all kinds of sorts. Gothic warband and more over here. So a strong force of Visigoths seem to be heading straight into the village. They also have a pretty big cavalry contingent of 3 units of skirmisher cavalry, mercenary Germanic mounted brigands, and 2 units of Germanic mounted warband, very light melee cavalry. As for my army, it's also quite infantry focused. I've had some time to mobilize and organize my armies a little bit. I'm just gonna slowly proceed with the battle. So this reinforcing army, Comitatenses and Comitatenses back here, Germanic spearmen, which is basically heavy spear infantry with good shields and armor. Gothic warband is the mainstay of my army, and there's 3 units of them here. And leading this little army is some Germanic nobles. Now I haven't seen Ulza's force of cavalry out here, so I don't know that this onager is in threat. And you can see Ulza is about to take his chance. Anyway, for the rest of the army, the fighting has already started. This over here is a full stack army. There's a couple of units of Gothic warband and Germanic warband. Germanic warband are good against Romans because they have axes, and Romans tend to have a lot of armor. Right now they are hidden here in the forest. A few archers, more warbands here, lots of warbands for reinforcements, and some Comitatensis spears and Germanic spearmen. So my army has really been a lot more modernized and has a lot more armor in general, and I have many more Gothic warbands and the sort. It's really looking quite bleak for Ulta in this battle, but he's gonna make a brave stand, and he might even win due to the advantage of holding a village and having such an infantry-focused army. In general, though, both sides are very infantry-focused. Seeing as I'm allied with the Visigoths, you might think that I'm interested in attacking at the same time as them, but you would be wrong there. I have very little interest in any Visigoths surviving this battle, so I'm more or less gonna let them charge in, soak up a lot of the missiles and attacks from the Romans, and just come in later to, take the spoils. So brilliantly, the AI starts by moving in cavalry straight towards spearmen. They're getting shot to pieces. Oh my god, all this blood. More cavalry moving in. Brumbata flying over them. And so, well done AI. It charges spearmen. Ulta, in the meantime, has a lot more luck because he's managed to use his Desert Raiders. Let's see if we can do like this to engage the Onager before I could see it. I sent the cavalry I do have to take down the Raiders. And they're gonna take them out, even though Desert Raiders are pretty excellent cavalry. But yeah, no Onager. But the Visigoths move in with infantry. First they take the towers, while the cavalry is dying horribly. Oh, by the way, notice, this was all friendly fire. Yeah, that's what you get with complete fire at will on. It's a massacre of your own troops. Luckily, Ulta has reserves. Next unit of spearmen is ready to face the Gothic cavalry. They do look fearsome in that formation, don't they? So these first units of Gothic cavalry has easily been chased off.
We have destroyed the enemy tower.
So I'm getting the sense that the AI will most likely focus its attacks out here on the eastern side. So I'm thinking I should probably support it by attacking the south and the west sides. Unbeknownst to me, however, that's also where Ulta has reserves ready to stab me in the back. A true Ulta move. Out here, the cavalry skirmish has gone my way and the Desert Raiders are running, but still a useful victory for Ulta by taking down the Onager and also actually killing half of my cavalrymen in one unit. And so the Goth infantry is advancing inside. Arrows are flying onto the Romans, but being in testudo formation, they don't really care. Testudo formation, if you remember, gives a very big missile block chance, like 45 or 55, something crazy. And that's just such a great bonus for a battle like this. Anyway, the Goths continue to destroy towers and clear the way for my army to come in and clean up later. Pikes are at the ready now, and the Goths advance with them. So some Germanic levies here. Cavalry throwing javelins onto the Romans in testudo with very little effect. I don't think I see a single Roman actually dying. It's just a waste of ammunition. Pikemen are here to try and do a better job. Oh, there was one Roman went down. So arrows flying. The melee has really started here. Seeing that his spearman is going to need some help, Ulta moves a unit of Legio closer to support. Legio forms I think it's a mobile testudo, which gives them greater ability to fight against enemy infantry. And so this is the situation. The Visigoths have attacked two spots here. Let me see from this perspective. The southeastern side and the southern side. And I'm slowly moving some units in. I'm not really interested in committing a lot of troops, so it's going a bit slow. I'm moving some archers in to help by shooting at the enemy. Unfortunately for Ulta, this elite unit of Herculeani Senores is being shot at, and they are not in a formation where they can block all those arrows. I don't think any of them has died yet. Oh wait, that went first. But they're slowly gonna die, and they're a really good unit, so it's unfortunate. Some Federati are making a counterattack, trying to get around the Visigoths. They end up getting charged by cavalry. Skirmisher cavalry though, so. Some Ostrogoths are moving in here on the western side. And the rest of my army is also committing to the attack. A long bloody struggle here. This is gonna take a long time before any side is gonna die out. I believe the Gothic general, the Visigothic general, is also fighting along the front line here. I may even be able to find him. There's just too many units, I think. But as you can see, a sea of Goths are making their way through the Roman lines. Still, there are plenty of Romans to replace the dead. The Herculeani Senores are losing men. Over here, on the western side, Ultus springs the trap. He's moving his Exploratores.
The enemy are ambushing us!
In for the kill. I do not manage to get my men to countercharge.
Enemy units have rallied and returned to the battle!
I realized the problem though and sent the Gothic warband back for help. Over here, Gothic warband and Germanic warband are fighting against Federati Heerband. These two units of Federati are getting surrounded. Roman cavalry are hitting these two units here quite hard. But with the help of the Gothic warband, the Germanic warband is still able to take the punches and come out on top. Or at least they're still alive. The Roman cavalry has more or less free range, just hit my guys from the flanks inside. I didn't really plan for this. Scout Equites is not a great cavalry unit. If it had been something like Cataphractaria, or just what are they called, Equites Promoti, this Gothic warband unit would have been routed, I'm pretty sure. These Federati are bravely fighting to the end, being surrounded on both sides. Now the Herculeani Senores is down to almost half strength. I was watching that quite a lot during the battle. Over here, the fighting has reached more or less a standstill. Also sent in some more reinforcements. This is a pretty bloody struggle. Also, another unit of Legio is ready here to fight against the Visigoths. Out on the western side, the Roman units have been sent out, like the Exploratores and the Federati are more or less wiped out.
We have destroyed the enemy tower!
I've also sent some cavalry to stop Ulta's cavalry, and they are now skirmishing with his. And now surround them. also begun the attack on the Roman line itself here. Axe infantry hacking away. Not actually their best use, because they are all armor piercing and these guys are only medium spear infantry, not heavy. So, it's still fine though. So far, about 2,500 Romans are dead and about 1,200 Goths are actually... only 1,200 Goths are dead. That is surprising, I must say though. I think it's mostly because the infantry has just been forced to a standstill and the Goths have lost more in terms of gold because they've lost all the cavalry of the Visigoths. So Foederati Hairband is fighting against Germanic Warband, two quite equal units. I'm sending in some reserve Gothic Warband, or they're standing ready. So as soon as the Germanic Warband is tired, I'll send in some reserves which are fresh. I don't know what these guys are doing. I think they're getting shot at and they want to prepare for it, but not shot at so much that they have a stable formation. And this is what you get. And apparently a randomly destructed building. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sending some units up the eastern front. The idea is to get up here and attack the remaining open side, the northeastern side. But I don't know that there's a barricade there. Over here, both Ulta and I switches out our units. He sends in some new Foederati and I send in some Gothic Warband. Both of the units are pretty fresh. Gothic Warband, however, I find are simply better than Foederati. Primarily because they are just excellent melee infantry and their swords are more, you know, adept against lighter infantry types than these kind of axemen are, usually. So the Gothic Warband is winning. The Visigoths still have plenty of units just huddled together here. Not really doing much, not really getting anywhere. They're being held back by like 2 units from Malta. Over here, the Legio is fighting hard to keep the barbarians at bay. So this is the situation. Malta is starting to run a little bit low on reserves, but he still has a few units.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
I'm chasing down the skirmisher cavalry and realize there's an enemy general over here. So my skirmishers have to stop for a moment, as they can't just charge a general unit. But back in the village where the real fight is at, my flanking force has arrived. Now you'll see the power of a ranged unit on top of a barricade. So far they've not killed a lot. They've actually not killed any at all. It will come though. One unit is going to be moved up to actually attack the barricade, while the others wait. Now they have their front turned towards the archers, more or less, or their left side, which means they have the missile block chance. I'm sending in the unit that I find least valuable, the Germanic spearmen, first. Also the ones with pretty good armor, so I'm thinking they might survive the arrows. Rapid advance is used, and yeah, they just speed off towards the barricade. The arrows are starting to fly.
Enemy units have returned to the battle.
Put them in loose formation, I think, to just soak up the arrows for a little bit. You see the arrows are flying really fast, or they're just shooting a lot of arrows, and that's because when a missile unit is on a barricade, they don't wait to fire in a volley, they just shoot as quick as possible. Ulta decides to hold fire for a moment. And once I realize he stops shooting, I'm gonna attack the barricade, hoping that he won't spot it, because I might take down the barricade before I can put fire and will back on, and then I can kill the archers. I need to get this way open so I can flank his forces. So I'm going to risk these men. And they're sent in. Ultra spots it pretty quickly though. Watch the numbers. I think that was 11, 20,
Our men have given up and are
30
running
men
for their
dead.
lives.
And they're just falling quite rapidly. About 60 men dead already. The wall is just covered in the blood of these Germanic spearmen. They are also using heavy shot, and at this point blank range they're being really deadly. The rest of the Germanic spearmen flee. The barricade has only lost about half its health. And there is just blood everywhere.
Our forces have found their courage. Back to the fight.
For the rest of the battle, on the western side, I'm still changing units and sending in fresh ones at all times. Ultra's down to 2 units defending it there. The Herculiani Senores and the Legio is holding this southern side together. These are lead units. I'm not sure what the Herculiani Senores are doing right now. On the southeastern side, the 2 shield walls are holding on for dear life to keep away the Visigoths.
The general has been killed. Excellent.
All of a sudden, Roman general falls, but it's only this guy. I charge him with all my cavalry in a little bit of a daring move, and it seemed to work. But that won't affect these guys because that's not their general. This guy over here is their general, who's also getting shot at a fair bit, however. Lots of friendly fire here, but I don't really mind because it's the Visigoths, so I'm not sure how friendly that fire is. I don't dare to move up another unit after seeing the demise of my first one, so for now the barricade is just left standing there. In the meantime, on the left side, on the western side, some of the last reserves arrive. The Romans are down to 1,400 men, whereas the Goths have lost about 2,500 at this point. This has just turned into a bloody melee, and a very bloody defense for this tiny village, Constantina, in North Africa. Gothic warband facing off against Comitatensa spears. Comitatensa spears are fresh, whereas the Gothic warband pretty tired as far as I remember. And also, Gothic warband are not that great against the heavily armored Comitatensas. So they really need the help of some Germanic warband, which I send in now. Fresh units with axes. The Roman general strikes out. Afraid that this southern sector... No, wait. He's going west, I think. I decide to send another unit in towards the barricade, hoping Ulta won't spot it. The southwestern side is now so hard pressed that Ulta sent in his ranger units to aid the shield wall. This point is a really desperate defense. Neither side can really claim victory for this southern side, as both sides are almost completely wiped out in their attempt to take the city here. Germanic warband are here to cut through the Comitatensas. This Germanic warband is also destroying the wall. Again, Ulta spots it, uses his ability and uses heavy shot. So lots of Germanic warband units are just dying so easily. This is really the strength of a barricade. If the enemy just charges it and you shoot it point blank, you can kill so much infantry. But they run out of arrows and the barricade is almost destroyed. It did kill another unit though. I'm sending in the last. Roman general is now determined to hold this part, standing upon the corpses of both Goth and Romans. They brace for their last stand. The Visigothic general is dead. Died in the fighting around here. Who knows if a skirmisher actually killed him. Anyway, a Germanic warband is sent in to deal with the general. Their actions should be useful against this heavy armor. The Visigothic send in some archers and melee first for some reason though. So yeah, a little bit of meat to kill for the general. Here comes some Ostrogoths to help their friends. Friends in quotation marks.
Enemy units have rallied and returned to the battle.
Now up in the north eastern sector, unit of Federati Herben are fighting against the Gothic warband, and they're doing so quite successfully. Unlike some other parts of the battle, on the western sector, Romans are down to their last units of skirmishers and supporting spearmen. And finally, the Romans break on the southeastern sector. The Visigoths are now in and can get around the Romans. Let's see if we can't find the Roman general himself. Back there, hiding in the back of his men. The Visigoths doing a little bit of friendly fire there. Did you notice the javelin to the back of the head from a friend there? Not very nice, would you think? The Gothic warband is slowly gaining some ground against the Federati. The Roman general is really fighting hard to stay alive, but his unit is wavering. I have no idea where the general himself... Oh, there he is. The unit runs. He's left us on his own. And cut down. And with him, this last unit of Federati is also about to break. But let's get a quick view of the battlefield. So most of the action ended up taking place here on the southern sector. Loads of dead on both sides, but also this southeastern sector. First the cavalry of the Visigoths and later the infantry of them, just fighting in a bloody struggle against the Romans, just as I had wanted it. Over here, the barricade really took its toll, claiming 2 Ostrogothic units before going down. And on the western sector, I did most of the fighting here, with lots of Goths and Romans dead on both sides. There's also a little bit of fighting outside, as you noticed.
Godspeed good. We
But
are
not that
moments
much.
away from victory.
But yeah, that's it. And with this victory, the last of the Western Roman Empire falls. And I look westward once again for the breakaway provinces of Britain and Hispania. I want to take Iberia and then proceed north in the Ultus direction, so that I can go out there and conquer the British Isles from it. Now you can't really see all of the units here, unfortunately, but you can see some of them. Notice the kills on the Gothic warband, 260 I think, and 182. Loads of kills on both of these guys, and also the archers got lots. Yeah, for the Visigoths, not as many kills, except for some of the pikemen really got an amazing amount of kills. 202, 162, and 185. Quite surprising. And the Gothic warband here, 264. You might say it was the Visigoths that did most of the work. Maybe so. Still, I'm the one who gets the village. So, and the brave general that also died got a 278 kills. The Romans got some mixed performance out of the Federati. The garrison army, I believe, did quite a bit of damage, however, and the ranger units did take their toll. But overall, these Federati are not that great on the defense. I think they're more offensive units. And so overall, the Romans lost 4,300, and the Goths lost about 2,800, despite the fact that the Goths were attacking and commanded by the AI, or at least a third of them were. So, but anyway, thanks for watching.